another episode of Foster Talks, and today with me I have the author of The Celebrity CEO. Whether he is a celebrity CEO, whether he has written about some celebrity CEO that he knows, I don't know yet. We'll have to figure this out during this episode. Welcome, Tomson.
Thank you, Naghma.
Thank you so much for joining in for the Foster Talks episode today.
It's my pleasure.
So yes, my first question to you is, can you share with us a little bit about your journey? Because as a professional, you've been in the financial services, right? But then today you are an author.
Correct.
So how did this all mix up? How did this inspiration to become an author, where did that come from? Has it always been so? Or something quickly inspired you? What has your journey been like?
So I guess, not getting into too much of details on this one, right? When I got my first job, I was actually traveling to Delhi in Rajdhani Express, and I never used to read books, but I happened to pick up this book called Alchemist.
Oh.
And this very small book, right? And that small book, the depth of things that it covers and the way it inspires people, that was like, man, this is brilliant.
Yes.
I only thought movies can inspire. Now books can also inspire.
Whoa.
And after that, I read a series of books. And that's when I thought, yeah, maybe I can also try to write a bit. So I started writing short stories and everything. And I'm in consulting. So that kind of complements storytelling. Because consulting, you meet clients, you understand their problems, you tell these are the solutions, and you have to tell a story of how that solution works.
Yes.
So it kind of complements, and that's how I decided that probably I'll try my luck at writing. And it's a passion for me. It's been going well. It helps me get that break from the routine of life and coming to another world and create characters. And it's amazing when people reach out to you and say, good things about the writing and how they get inspired. Like how I've got inspired by that one book, The Alchemist.
Interesting. So do you have a daily writing ritual?
No.
How do you spend time writing? How do you find that time?
So I try to not institutionalize my writing, because then it gets into a mode of, you have to do it and everything. This is a passion for me. And writing somehow has to come, and it has to come from inside.
Yeah.
So what happens is, a lot of times characters, storylines, thoughts marinate in my head. I don't write. So whether I'm in the gym, running, or traveling by this, it just keeps marinating. And then it comes to a point that it can no longer be in my head. So you have to write it down. And that's the point I write. So if you have to put a routine, right, when I get into that kind of a mode, I just focus on writing. I just take a week, I'll write for 1 hour and thing. And that's the passion, because I want to write. But if I institutionalize writing, it just gets, it's just not like any other work.
Another job.
Yeah, correct.
Interesting. That's nice. Well, coming to your writing, and yes, I've read The Celebrity CEO. So as far
Do
as
you like it?
I loved it. Okay, I'm not going to sell the Celebrity CEO. There's no intentions for that. But then again, so coming to your writing style, I figured that you use a very simple language. Your storytelling is really fast-paced, which keeps it very interesting. The characters are really realistic. So how do you figure how do you want to portray? Is this a decision that you made that I want my writing style to be like that, or is it what naturally flows to you?
I wish I could write literary terms, but I can't. So I have to stick with simple, right? And so I write in the language I know about, which I'm comfortable about. And the reason why my writing style is like this, because growing up I've been a movie buff.
Okay.
So I used to have like one movie a day. I used to watch in college. I used to watch 2 to 3 movies a day, because you don't have to study much. So
You used to be that torrent download person.
or somebody downloads for me and then I take it on. We used to have pen drives and I used to watch on that.
Okay.
So a lot of this simple language, the plot twist, keeping cliffhanger moments. I learned. Probably that's my school.
Okay.
Cinema is my school for writing, and that's where it comes from.
Okay, interesting. Well, again, coming back to the way you write itself, I felt that the themes that you were talking about in the book was revolving around faith, family,
Yeah.
a lot of about finding yourself, finding your own purpose. how did you find these kind of topics, or what is your general perception about these topics in general, as a person, as not like an author, but in general as a person, and is it intentional that you try to bring it out into your book as well?
Correct. So the writing, my books I write, right, it's very personal for me, and it's a, like I said, it's a passion that helps me keep me motivated. And these three values are important in my life. So faith, right, it's important to me. And what the beauty of faith is that it gives you hope, whatever the situation is, right? It's the rock you can count on, believing in God in that way. And that's a very important part in my life, starting from my, when I wake up in the morning. Then family, so family is the core. It's the safe space you can go back to when everything is going wrong. That's your comfort zone. And you truly are yourself with your family, right? So I love writing about that. And finding purpose, and that's what it is all about, right? So I think Picasso once said that the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give away your gift. So once you find your gift, it's to give it away. And a lot of it is coming out. And when people read Celebrity CEO, I'm sure they'll see how these themes are being pulled together.
Wonderful, nice. So I've read Celebrity CEO, but I know this is not your debut book.
Yeah.
Right? So can you tell me a little bit about your previous work?
So I've done two books earlier. One is called The Alumni of the Year.
Alumni of the Year?
Yes. So it's like a college reunion.
Yeah.
And there are two arch rivals in school. They have contested for an election. The protagonist won because of certain ways, and they don't talk to each other. And the protagonist is coming back to his school, and they have a debate competition over there, like in the past. So that's why it's an alumni of the year kind of a thing, right? Although it coincided with student of the year, but but it's nothing to do with student of the year. It's just alumni of the year, and that's a book, and very close to my heart, because see, that's kind of my first full-fledged novel. So you kind of put in a lot of experience. It's very personal on it, right? So they are very close to my heart. And the second one is a book called Let Love Take Over. And yes, Let Love, yes. And this is about a guy who is passionate about storytelling and everything, but because his parents had certain way of things, he didn't get to do that. And also, he was a very naughty kid, in the, always getting into fight every time in college. Okay. And he gets in a lot of trouble. And his father is like totally against that. Yeah. And he comes into a situation, he falls in love with a girl, they have a good time, but his girlfriend and to-be wife or fiance has a challenge in her life. So the book is about, is he going to stand up for her? Is he going to fight for her? And that's where Let Love Take Over comes into place.
So now coming to the book, Celebrity CEO, and to deep dive a little bit into it, I'm a little curious to understand. There are two major concepts here. So you've written a nice, modern, or let's say contemporary thriller.
Correct.
But it has a backdrop of an entrepreneurial journey.
Correct.
I'm very curious to know, because I'm sure a lot of your readers also have this question in the mind. When you say Celebrity CEO, did you write about yourself? Or did you write about your CEO? Or is it something a very personal experience that you picked it up? So I'm actually curious to understand what is the inspiration that led to building this particular story, developing Celebrity CEO and mixing the genres of thriller into a background of an entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. So, two things, right, in that way. So, this is a thriller, and it's about entrepreneurship. It's about social media, influencers, and you reach at the peak of your fame, right? And that's about the book and the glamour and the style. This is something which I wanted to write about, because that's the world which I've seen. I have a few friends over there, a few startup guys and all. And I want to capture how that life comes into picture, right? And I want to create a thriller. And the best part of this, see, I'm the author of the book, I'm biased. Still, I'll be biased. So the reader will pick up this book thinking it's about something. At the middle, it'll be like, wow, I didn't see that coming.
Okay.
At the end, it'll be like, oh my God, this is totally about something different.
What just happened?
What just happened?
Yeah.
And that's the feeling I wanted to create. See, that's a background to this, right? It's not about me or my work or my, a celebrity CEO I know or the CEOs I've worked with or anything, but that's the background. However, the second part is there is an underlying thread in it, right?
Yeah.
And what inspired me to take up the story is that, last year, my mom was not well. And I had to fly down, and we were in a hospital, and she was obviously in the ICU, and I was sitting in the waiting room. Now I'm totally busy at work, doing a lot of things. You're in that rat race, you're full on, thinking about work. And when suddenly this happens, you're there. And in that waiting room, I realized that life slows down. Everybody wants, they're not thinking about their work. They're not thinking about anything else, social media or fame or anything. They just want their loved one to be okay.
Yes.
And that got me thinking about that perspective. Like, we are in this race, but sometimes we just need to step out and look inside of what really matters. And that's the theme and the undercurrent that I want to bring it out. And when you read this book, in all the thrillers, we weave this into it.
Got it. So again, to dive a little bit deeper into that same question there. So you live in Dubai.
Yeah.
You are in a good position in a very reputed firm, and I'm sure you have a very busy professional life. But at the same time, you have a personal life, which is your family. And now you're trying to build a life as an author as well. There's a different roles, different caps that you have been wearing. Well, it could be maybe not on a same day wearing different stuff. Yeah, obviously professional and family comes in like that. But then how do you try and manage all of this?
So, yeah. So a lot of people tease me like, are you really working or are you writing your story when you're when you're on your laptop, right? But I guess the simple answer is that I divide my life into 3 buckets. One is family, right? And I get good time. Me and my wife, we get good time to spend with our 10-year-old daughter. Taking her to school once in a while, going for the sports days. These all things happen. I definitely find time for that, because that's something which you'll miss out and regret later on, and we have enough experience of that. Second is work, and work is extremely important to me. I want to do well. Thankfully, I'm blessed to be in a job which I enjoy, consulting, right? I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy understanding their perspectives, try to help them solve their challenges. So I enjoy it. The third bucket is my own passion. And creating that bucket is extremely important. So writing is my own passion.
Okay.
So if you look, what we have, our resource is time. Now you can allocate this time into 3 buckets as much as you want. So just take a typical day. And not many aspiring writers may like what I'm trying to say. But if you take a typical day, you work for 8 to 10 hours. And then you have at least 3 hours to spend time with your family. 2 hours, let's just take it for commute, and 7 hours to sleep. So that's, roughly you are left with 2 or 3 hours, right? Now you can, and that 2 or 3 hours is what you need to find every day. Now, when I looked at my daily routine, where is that 2 or 3 hours going? It's going in binge watching a series. It is going in social media. It is going in, I love video games. So I play a lot of video games, going in playing video games. So if I have to follow my passion, and if I have to allocate my time into where I want, I will need to cut it down somewhere else. So whenever I'm in this writing zone or writing mode, I totally cut it out. I cut out, binge watching. I stop playing games, and every free time I have is for this passion. And that's how you find time. Because whenever I say, how do you find time? There is time. You just have to know where is the leakage happening.
I think I connect with that, because a lot of time, even I do multiple things. I have multiple passions I try to follow. And people ask me the same question: how do you time find for all of this? I think even I kind of keep aside binge scrolling the Instagram and Reels. I do watch Netflix, yes, but then I think I keep aside. So I think reading is important to me.
Yes.
I dedicatedly with a coffee and a book with me in the morning. I think that's like routine for me. I think this is a good advice. This is part of the entire conversation. I think I should give it separately to a lot of people. So it's a good way of looking at it. Well, again, as part of the book, because there are certain very good, interesting concepts, good learnings that you have mentioned, especially like the Rehabon. from the history you
Correct.
were talking about how, when I don't want to give any spoilers, but there were few messages that you actually included in the book. Now, talking to you, I can actually feel like few of these things you're actually following in your day-to-day life as well. So, about these certain lessons that you tried adding into the book, are there some good messages that you can like pull out and give to our people right now?
I think the couple of things, right? So we talk about Rehoboam, and he's, without giving much spoilers, we go into talk about Solomon a bit, who was a king, who was the wisest king that lived, and somehow that story comes into the picture, right? Now, one thing that, so Solomon was given as a wish by God that you can choose whatever you want, and he could have chosen, wealth, he could have chosen a luxurious life, he could have chosen fame, but he chose wisdom, right? And he's known for that. He's known as the wisest king that ever was. And however, after that, what happened is, he said, because of wisdom, I said, I'm going to explore everything, both good and bad. I'm going to build palaces. I'm going to conquer lands. I'm going to help people. At the same time, I'm going to party hard. I'm going to go all out. Yeah. So he did everything, and at the end, he wrote a book, and it's called Ecclesiastes, right? And the theme of that book is everything is meaningless, and there's nothing new under the sun. That's the theme that he wrote, right? Now, I love Ecclesiastes. I keep reading and revisiting that, and that helps. At least for me, it helps me be grounded. That, since our ancestors, sun has been rising, sun has been setting, there is moon, there are stars, nothing has changed.
Yes, nothing has changed.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've heard this, if it's a good time, that too shall pass. If it's a bad time, that too shall pass. So stay grounded and be happy at the moment. And that's something, message, and I know it's a thriller, right? But I put that message across, right? And next is the thing which I said, right? Not I said, Picasso said, and then I said that he said. But but like in the beginning, I said that meaning of life is finding your gift, and that's truly important. Then once you find your gift, the purpose of life is to give it away, and I believe that only by giving, the true happiness comes. Because taking the hand is always down, but giving is when the hand is always up. So probably these are some few tips which I have seen, learned, my mentors, my parents, these value systems have been put on me.
Beautiful.
And this is an outlet to share a bit of that. But it's not a book of, lessons and everything. It's a fast-paced thriller, but you need to build this into the narrative.
And that's very beautifully how you crafted, because as a reader, as a layman reader, while I was reading the book, this was something that very much interested. I was very intrigued also to understand what is your thought process, because when I was reading, I figured it's a thriller. Like, I don't have the habit of reading the blurb before reading a book. If it excites me, like, I do judge books by its cover. So a beautiful cover, a beautiful title. I picked it, I started reading it. Very fast-paced thriller. So I started expecting, okay, there's going to be a lot of action, there's going to be some nice, good drama. I was expecting all of that. Of course, I got all of that. But then when I figured that there's a lot of good messages that was getting conveyed, I was very curious about the author's thought process, because you cannot just think, research that I want a message from the internet and then add it into your book. It has to be in your life. Correct. Beautifully. Again, connecting to that itself, in the book, you were talking a lot about, not a lot, but then you have also touched upon the points about mental health, especially in today's corporate world. You actually put it across that. So again, how do you think this topic about mental wellness, what is your perception in terms of the audience connection or acceptance to these issues that you've been managing?
Mental health is a topic which everyone talks about, but not many people actually when it comes to practice, is very difficult. We all acknowledge it, right? It's like climate change. We all acknowledge it's bad, but when it comes to actually doing something about it, very little action done. Even from myself, from a person perspective, forget governments and from an individual perspective, right? So I wanted to put a bit of focus on that, and I've seen working in, like, right now I've been working for 15 plus years, and given I'm a consultant, I work with different clients, and I've seen across industries, how challenged sometimes people get, how stressed they get, right? And I've also seen the ill effect of that stress, because you know people for a long period of time, and I've seen people, sometimes get a heart attack. I had an individual who passed away, and this is something which doesn't happen at a point in time, although the event happens, but the build up to this is a lot of habits that go into it, right? And it's so there are three things, right? And this is where I try and tell, right? So there are three things that are need to come together to have a happy life. I mean, typically, one is you need the physical well-being.
Yes.
Right. Second is you need financial well-being.
Yes.
And for financial independence, financial planning is extremely important. And thirdly, you need the mental well-being also. When these things come together, you kind of are in a balance.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a book on this, but I actually feel so, right? And both physical health, financial health have an impact on mental health. And a lot of mental health is to do with the voices in your head, how you manage that. And I wanted to put an attention on this. And the main thing I wanted to tell out is that, guys, we are in it together at a workplace. Like, there's nobody's coming to solve it. Let's work together. Let's manage. If somebody is going through something, talk about it, reach out, check in, right? That's something which I wanted to emphasize on.
Nice, beautiful. It's like how I said in the starting when I explored through your themes and your writing style. It was very relatable stuff. I think what you're telling right now is also exactly the same thing. You could connect with the character, the protagonist, Aryan, and the other people around him, the way you've explained people's emotion, the way you've explained the protagonist's emotions and how people are perceiving it. These are really relatable. I think that's I think the beauty of the book also. Yeah, with being a thriller, but
with being a thriller, yes.
Yeah, has an action.
So there are few. I mean, it all comes together, and that's a challenge I took on as a writer, right? You want to see, there is only one theme in the entire book, and which you will learn when you understand, you'll read, right? But there needs to be subplots and there needs to be connections, how they flow together to that one stem. And that's a challenge as a writer that I took on, and it gives me what I call writer's high. Yeah, man, I'm able to connect things, right?
Really nice.
And there are a few things, right? Having many subplots and pulling it together into one stream at one point in time, right? Plus having a non-linear kind of a narration. That excites me.
Yes.
Right? And if you look at, and I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan movies.
Oh, yeah.
It's, So, and those movies also leave you with a solid message.
Yes.
Right? But the entertainment factor in watching those movies, getting deep into it, right? That's wow. And that's something which I wanted to create, obviously, from a screen perspective, is doing, at least from book perspective, I can try and bring together that wow factor.
But I think you've been very successful in that.
Thank you.
Because even though, yes, it's reading, because I know a good amount of people who tells that, no, dude, reading is boring. It's so much of time consuming, it's slow. I know a lot of people who tell that. But then this book actually gives a good amount of justice to a good narration, to good screenplay, because it was very visual. When I read it, for me, it was really visual. I could see the scenes happening right in front of me. I just wish I knew how the characters looked a little bit more, but then I had my own way of creating them. I have a very handsome hero there in the story who I could have a crush on. But yeah, the narration was, I think you did a very amazingly successful.
No, thank you. And one thing I would add, is that there are two kinds of readers, right? Yeah. And I think the first kind is you just read for the fun of it. And it's how do I say it? For me, it's that Sunday afternoon before I take a nap, to read a few pages, and then you then sleep off, right? And that's that pleasure that you get, right? That's something else. Now the second thing is people who read the book but want a message or a certain message to contextualize in their life, right? So whenever I write a book, I ensure that second aspect is also achieved.
Nice.
You have to make it
subtly.
correct.
You get a message.
You need to leave a message, right? Because the reader is investing like what to a day or two or a week or whatever, how fast they read, right, into the book, right? And you need to ensure that they are entertained. So, and plus, you need to leave a small message with it, right? You need to give some hope.
Okay, that's a secret from my end. This was, I think, the book I finished the fastest.
Oh, wow.
I've been reading since, I don't know how many years I've been reading, since some 20 years of plus. One of the fastest book I was. It was really fast paced and it gripped me to a good extent. Plus, I did have time. Yeah. I really had time also a little bit during my commute and everything.
Yes.
So it was one of the fastest. I didn't really want to leave the book there at all. So, what is your most loved scene or part from the book? Without giving any spoilers, is there something that you would want to share around that?
I think so. There are many parts, and the thing is, it's without giving the suspense, right? You don't want to give spoilers on this one, but I'll tell a part that probably everybody knows when you hear the title, right? The Celebrity CEO. So why he's called the Celebrity CEO is because he's a big shot startup guy. He has like 2 million followers, and every business conference he's invited. He can influence the fate of business community with just one tweet. And he's full of himself, right? And he's proud of his fame. Now, to create an aura around a character, it was a challenge for me. Because how do you build that up in a book? Like, you can't just say it, right? You need to put in the circumstances, and through conversations, through certain things, I wanted the reader to get that aura and make that, oh, this guy is a big guy, rather than telling the reader, this guy is a big guy, how I told you, right? Okay. Now, how do you create that? Now, in the third chapter, you see this happening where the guy goes to this event, and we're not telling anything. It's how the behavior of the event happens, how people come and approach him, how the conversations happen, and after that, what he does. Yeah. That's something which I'm really proud about. And we've been exclusively giving this book away in the World Book Fair that we're doing, and whoever has read that and whoever has seen that, and they've come back and said, yeah, I see the guy.
Yeah.
I see the guy. I
can see the celebrity.
Yeah, I can see the celebrity. Although the face is not shown in the cover, they, like you said, they make up their own.
You make up your own. Everybody is not your type. Right?
Correct.
I make up my own type guy who can fit into that.
Correct. Yeah. And so once the book is done, like and this book, for this book specifically, the Aryan as a character, I think he will take over the book.
Oh yeah.
and this book will have a mind of its own. Yeah. Readers will take it up and write it. Now that as a writer, now it's my part is done.
Oh yeah. True.
Now the book will take a life of its own.
Very true. Tell me something about your future work, because I'm sure Celebrity CEO is going to be a super success. Because that's my genuine hope and wish also.
Thank you.
I really love reading the book. Now, what is your future as an author going to be looking like? Are you working on something?
Couple of things are marinating. I've actually one after this. There's a pet project of mine, which is nothing to do with fiction or anything like that, right? It's about, I told you, right? There's physical fitness, mental fitness, and there is financial fitness. That's it, right? Financially being free and everything. So I have a 10-year-old. She's soon going to understand money, how it works, right? I wanted to create a small book on financial literacy for teens.
Lovely.
Right?
Okay.
And I've written it already, and I've written it like a story.
Oh.
Because it's not like concept that you're going to tell, right?
Yeah,
and it's a story of 3 friends. Yeah, it's a small book. It's a story of 3 friends, and they go into certain situations in their life, and through that they learn the concept of financial literacy of what is saving, what is credit card, why you should not share passwords and everything, why how does a loan work, right? What happens if you don't pay a loan, right? What is bank account? These things I wanted to tell subtly in a story, so that at least I've written this thing of my daughter in mind.
Oh yeah.
Because this is something which I genuinely feel that she should learn. Yeah. Because even if she is physically fit, mentally fit, she's not financially impacted.
It will impact.
Right? So I've written this. It's been on the back burner because I have to finish and work on this. But now I'll start work, and I want to give it away for free. This book, and I'm not figured it out how to do it. I want to make it's like a WhatsApp forward kind of a thing where it's available for free.
Nice.
Let's see. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully, because with Foster Kids, we work with a lot of schools also. I would love to give it to the schools telling, yeah, this is something that your kids really need. But I believe that it's not just kids. Today, when you look at as adults also, maybe sometimes the exposure that you get in your workspace, you get to learn a lot about financial independency, how you put, how you save, how you invest. You get to learn all of that. But a lot of people in India, and I'm sure other parts of the world also, they're not using it, they're not exposed to it, and they do not understand it.
No, that's correct.
Able to start it from a very younger age, I think that's going to be really beneficial. Good luck with that.
No, thank you.
It's going to be an amazing project.
Thank you. That's a very, very small one. I mean, that's not but I want to do that and I want to finish that. Then obviously, one big project which I'm working on now, AI is a big thing.
Yeah, of course.
And everybody needs to climb on the AI bandwagon. So, in my line of work, we have a lot of conversation with our clients on AI, how it will change the future of work and everything, right? Now, with that, there's a human team that is coming up with all this. And I'm exploring a topic on that one. It is AI, but at the core, it's very much human.
Whoa.
Now, without giving away too much of details.
Nice article in the future that's successfully somebody, and hopefully the celebrity CEO becomes you. I mean, I really hope so.
No, I mean,
So now,
that's a title which Aryan can keep. Yes, I'm happy with how I am.
So now my last and final question to you. I'm sure in your journey of writing, your journey now that your book is finally published there, it's there physically there in front of you, and I'm sure you might be discussing a lot of things with your publishing team in terms of how to work, how to market. So everything of these put together, we know for a fact that we have a lot of aspiring authors out there. If you want to give them a message from all the learnings that you have had, what would that message be?
For aspiring authors, I think there's only one message is right.
Okay.
It's because that's the start, right? Yes. If you look at an ocean, it's with one drop of water it starts, right? And I talk to quite a lot of aspiring authors, right? And when you have published books, they come and ask me how you done. And I tell them just write and finish that first draft, however bad it is, right? And then the journey will start. See, it's a long journey, and you need to find your reason for writing. What is your reason for writing? Right? For me, it's not to publish. It's not to. I mean, obviously we keep readers in mind, right? But writing for me, I do it for me. Right? I enjoy writing. It's a world outside the world I'm used to. It helps me interact with characters. It helps me create, right? And that gives me a happiness. And because of that, the outcome of what happens, will it get published? Will it get too well? Will this thing? That, you can't, that's not in your hand. Right? But what I can do is I can take the book from writing till the time it is in a physical form. And this is what I want to so that's the advice to writers, just write and just finish that first draft and things will fall into place. But at the same time, I want to just tell that, although now you're speaking to me as an author, and this is extremely important for all future writers to understand, writing is not a lone wolf job. It's not like, maybe when you're writing, yes, every man is on his own island, but writing is not. Because to get it into a book like this, right, you will need a lot of support. Support from your close loved ones to critique it, give feedback, your friends and everything. Support from a good publisher. I've been lucky with New Voice in this one, and the distribution is by Simon and Schuster. So the support that they give, is humongous, right? And support from people like yourself, Naghma, Forest to Read, who are giving me a chance to, and the book, Celebrity CEO, to get exposed, right? And that makes a big difference. So I always say that although a book is by an author, but it is a lot of people's hard work that have gone to it. And a lot of people need to come together, that ecosystem, and that community needs to come together and to give this. And lastly, the readers. I mean, I just love the fact that we have few guys buying it and they're already posting it on Instagram, comments and everything, and it's organically. And I'm surprised, and that's what that's what, and that's I don't do it for that.
Yes.
But when you see that, it's an icing on the cake.
Yes.
Right, man.
Yep.
That's brilliant. And that kind of, that helps. It kind of motivates.
Give you your proof of concept also.
Correct.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for the conversation. Thank you so much for the amazing messages. On behalf of Foster Kids, on behalf of Chai Point, the IRA community who's made it possible for us to have this conversation today, I really thank you so much, and wishing you all the very best.
Thank you, Naghma.
I really hope, I really believe, not just hope, I really believe that this is going to be a good turner. It's going to be a really good turner for you in your journey as an author. And I really look forward to seeing your future work. Thank you so much for being here today. And there you go.
Thank you. Take care.